Hey everybody, this is John at the top of the episode. I wanted to do a quick disclaimer before we get started. The views represented here are our views and our views alone. They do not represent that of our employers. To that end, please do not try and find our employers either. Thanks.
Hi there, guys. My name's Calvin, and you're listening to Seedpod, a podcast about the natural world. So our episode today is going to be kind of a spiritual successor to our previous one about Walter Bitterlich. We're going to be talking about a merciless world war that has claimed millions, that has fought on basically every continent, on land and at sea. And before we get into all that, let's introduce the crew. So, AJ, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is AJ. I'm a wildlife biologist, and also I have COVID, so if I break into a coughing fit, sorry about that.
Okay, John?
I'm John. I'm a forester in the Midwest who's trying to get his life together.
And for the first time, we have a guest. Guest, we want to introduce you.
Hello, I am Thomas O'Mahony from various podcasts that you can listen to. That is my job. I also do lots of other weird shit. Unfortunately, none of it involves nature, but it involves doing work.
Tom, go ahead and plug those pods, though, because people just skip that shit at the end. Do that up front.
I host a show called Beneath the Skin. It's about the history of tattooing, told through the history of everything, told through the history of tattooing, and I'm also co-host on Lions Led by Donkeys, a military history podcast about military failures. Funnily enough, actually, Nature has come up recently, some new research into the Scythian mummies found in the Pazark region in the Altai Plateau, which is an autonomous region in Russia. There's been some new UV scans of one of the mummified bodies, and some new tattoos have been revealed, and they are fucking sick.
Oh,
nice.
Cool.
The Scythians were up to some wild stuff. Those boys knew how to party.
Yeah, and
have you guys seen the book The Horse? That
No.
one? Oh, it's really cool. It's about just the ecological history and the impacts of horses broadly on plains peoples, like North Americans, but also all of the I'm going to call them plains people because my brain's mush right now for out in Europe and Asia, and it's a really good one. I'm trying to remember who the author is.
Well, if it involves horses, I'm universally against it. But for anyone who doesn't know, the Pazark mummies were found in the mid-90s by Russian archaeologists who were undergoing the very, very rigorous and ethical conduct of pouring a boiled kettle into permafrost.
Jesus Christ.
And they found the body of what is believed to be Okibala, which is actually both a spiritual but historical figure in the Altai region. And essentially, she was buried about 2,500 years ago. And there was another crypt above hers, maybe built out of desecration, but also maybe built for other reasons, and grave robbers had robbed the grave above. But because she was buried in the permafrost, when the boiling water got down to her grave, like the archaeologists smelt fresh lamb. So she's buried with her horses, with lamb, with ceremonial meals, and is almost perfectly preserved. And the tattoos are just incredible. But funnily enough, the Russian archaeologists then stole the body and brought it to Moscow. And in negotiations with the Altai people, they agreed that they would repatriate the body back to the Altai region, which is an autonomous region, so the archaeologists really shouldn't have done that, in exchange for Gazprom to build a pipeline through the region.
Of course. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's an incredibly Russian thing to happen.
Yep. Steal a multiple thousand-year-old mummified body and then barter it back so Gazprom can build a pipeline through your region.
Classic. A classic Russian story. It doesn't get much more classic than that. Okay. Wow, that's a hell of a story there. Hell of a plug. Okay, so before we get into our segments, we do have, because we have a guest, we have some fun questions for our guest. So, Tom, tell us about your relationship with nature. What's the history there? Do you like going outside? Do you not like it? Do you like trees? What do you think? What are your outside? What's the outside?
I'm pro trees, obviously.
Excellent.
Hey, not everyone is pro tree.
So I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Ireland. I actually technically grew up in a forest, so grew up around nature, spent a lot of time in nature as a kid. When I was a very young adult, moved to Dublin, and despite the fact that like I'm living in a metropolitan city, not that far from nature, went like sea swimming quite a lot. I spent a lot of time by the sea as a kid. Unfortunately, I live in London now, so surrounded by concrete. Although, if I have to give London its credit, its public parks are like phenomenal and like incredible biodiversity, and also as well, there's a lot of rewilding going on, which is, you know, great. It's great for bees, great for all the little critters that want to have their own war against each other.
That is one of the things I remember about London when we were last there a couple of years ago. It's just like there's actually like pocket parts and parks pretty regularly, which you don't really get out here in the United States. So
you got a ton of invasives. I saw parakeets in London.
Yeah, like there's loads of parakeets. Actually, the tree that's like just outside my sitting room window has like loads of parakeets nesting in it quite often. That tree is funny. Like the tree surgeons come every now and then to like, because there's like loads of trees in the backyard of my building, and it's like they'll come cut one tree down and then they'll just all migrate to the next tree. But you'll see it every evening as the sun goes down, is like all the parakeets just like rush past the big window in my sitting room and just like are all in the tree.
Oh, that's super fun. That's super fun. Okay. So Tom, what is a place in nature that is meaningful to you?
Ooh, so I have, and Calvin, I will send this to you so you can share it with the guys. So last year, myself and Matt, my co-host on Beneath the Skin, traveled to Switzerland to get this really, really important tattoo collection to be donated to a museum. And it, like, we drove the whole way from London to Switzerland, and it was like a really, really meaningful experience to me. But it was when because we stopped the first night in a small German town called Constance, which is on the border with Switzerland. And then the following morning we got up and drove to the person's house where we were going to collect all this stuff. And it was just like being surrounded by the Swiss countryside was just so beautiful. Calvin, I sent you that picture to send to the guys. And
got it.
We pulled up to this house, and the guy who was donating the collection, he invited us in for coffee. He was there with his partner. They gave us coffee and cakes and just like invited us to sit out the back. And this house had previously been owned by the guy Rudy Inhelder, whose collection it was. And we're just sitting out the back looking at this beautiful Swiss vista in the Alps. It's just like so quiet. You can hear the animals, you can hear the cows. And it's just like, whenever I think of like the beauty of nature, I always think of that image in my mind.
That is a tough. Oh man, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it reminds me of like Highlands of Colorado types.
Oh,
yeah, it's like Matt always describes it. It's like something out of off the front of a chocolate box.
Yep.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, no, that's about accurate. Yeah, that's about accurate. Okay, wonderful. So you're on the right podcast here, because this is a podcast about nature. So I'm glad that you have a great relationship with nature. It's unfortunate that you live in London where you can't really appreciate nature. We're going to talk about the Brits in a second, so we'll get to all of our feelings on the Brits. I'm sure as Americans we all have normal and fine feelings about that. Okay, so now it's time for our first segment. So our first segment is the Forest Minute. I'm going to go first. So the Forest Minute is just take a quick second to talk about a few stories from our week in the woods. So I have 2 Forest Minutes, a secret third Forest Minute maybe. So on Tuesday, I almost stepped on a rattlesnake, and that was really fun. It was this big fat timber rattler. It was sitting in this log, and it was super hot, and so it was just head in the log and then tail up. And it let me know when I got about 2 feet from it, and it just was shaking its tail. Really freaked me out, but it never took its head out of the log. I just took a fun video of it. And it never took its head out of the log. It was like, Dad, it's too hot for me to be with you. Go away. Go.
Yeah,
Just
I
don't
love
be
that.
here
It's
anymore."
just like, please fuck off. I know you're there.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know that I know you're there.
It
Now
was
go
so
away.
funny. And then the next day, I ran into a little rat snake. So it was a black rat snake. It was like a 3-footer. So it's not like a big snake, but a good sized snake. And it was curled up in some dry leaves, and it was really not excited that I was there. And so it was shaking its tail in the leaves and trying its best to
I
like,
love
imitate a
when they do that.
rattlesnake.
I love when they do
It was
that.
like,
That's
I'm
so
so
cute.
scary.
The little buds.
Yeah, it was so funny and cute. And then my secret third forceman, it was like an hour after I saw the rat snake, I also saw bear ass. I kicked up a black bear, and it was just running down the mountain. And so I just saw a black bear's ass just taking off down the mountain. So that was fun. Always nice to see some ass. All right, AJ, you want to go with your force?
Yeah. I have kind of an interesting one. It's not really a minute type of thing so much as just we decided to put out. So Calvin, you probably know what an ARU is, but for the rest of y'all, they're basically song recorders. Use them for birds mostly. The acronym can stand for automated recording unit, audio recording unit, but basically it's just an automatic recorder. Weather sealed. Basically, you can put it out there and it'll pick up songs, and then you can run it through software to pick out what the actual songs are and identify them and verify the detections and whatnot. And so we've got these around the state, but I had a partner organization reach out to me to see if I could throw one out on one of their properties that they'd done some work on, because the last time they were out there, they thought they heard red cockaded woodpecker, which is a federally endangered woodpecker species, out there, and they wanted to see if we could get a recording of it to kind of verify are they moving into the property. And so I had it out there for like a week, and churned through, pulled the recorder, churned through the data, and it's not great news, but it's not terrible news. It's a solid maybe. I don't think they're they're cavity. They're woodpeckers. They're cavity nesters. They form little clusters. And if they had clusters out there, we would have picked it up a lot more. As it is, there were a lot of I think that was probably one detections, but nothing like super oh yeah, there's a shitload of them. Here they go. So it's most likely that they're at least using the property, for foraging. So it's maybe a step in the right direction. Still pretty cool to have them.
Are they migratory in your area? Or are they?
No.
Okay.
And they only nest in old growth pines.
Okay.
Preferably longleaf, but they will nest in very old slash or loblolly as well. But yeah, so it's just they need a landscape that pretty much doesn't really exist down here because timber rotations are so short. So even if they're just using the property, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
Hopefully we'll pick them up again and maybe do an in-person survey and see something neat.
So, John, one of the best places for red cockaded woodpeckers is Corn's Fortress on Earth, Fort Bragg. A lot of great red cockaded
Yes.
woodpecker habitat there.
Yes.
You can buy red cockaded woodpeckers, heroin, a child slave if you want.
Yeah. Anything you need, you can get it. You can get it out on Bragg.
Yeah. A lot of great red cockaded woodpecker habitat. Fun fact for you.
I would not have expected that. Also, the Fort Bragg that I know is Fort Bragg, California, so it always takes me a second to click over. I'm like, wait, hang on. Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a second one. Actually, the DoD properties are by far the biggest RCW populations across the country. That's where most of them are.
Fascinating.
The fun thing about working with the DoD when it comes to natural resources is they really don't care what you do as long as it doesn't get in the way of the mission. Mm-hmm. So you can do basically anything for natural resources until they're like, yeah, this is a bombing range now, so we're just going to bomb this. That's happened to me before.
Yeah. Actually, we had not super good evidence because we never really studied it in particular, but there's a strong suspicion, I'll say, that some of the highest quail populations on Fort Bragg are in the bombing ranges because they get burned in the growing season because of the explosions.
Yep. Okay. Sure. I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, that was a little sideshow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah. Mine is all the recent damn rain we've been having. Last year we were in a drought that rivaled the Dust Bowl in Iowa, and now it is raining all the time. And so, as a result, our firefly population has creeped back in, and so you go outside and you just see all the little lightning bugs dancing in the middle of a restored prairie. And so it's just this really nice feeling to see, like, hey, there's some amount of life returning to what was an old row crop farm that had 3 species of something in there. So it's just something a little nice. Also seeing a ton of monarchs too, and I'm not sure. I know they go in fits and spurts and stuff like that, but again, they're generally on the decline. Just seeing more than 2 a year is a win, and it's really nice to see. So that's mine.
All right, Tom, what's your forest minute?
Ooh, not necessarily something that I experienced myself, but I don't know if any of you are familiar with the YouTuber and musician Ben Jordan. So Ben Jordan produces electronic music under the name The Flashbulb, but he makes like these insane YouTube videos. He's incredibly like technically gifted, and he recently did a sound experiment about bird songs, and he figured out essentially through playing sounds to birds, recording them back, and also encoding images within the sound files to play to the birds and have them replicated, that birds can store about 2 megabytes of music. Like 2 megabytes of information. Because he was studying starlings, and obviously like starlings are much more mathematically gifted than any other bird in terms of like how a murmuration works. But he I can't remember the exact species of bird, but it's the specific bird is called bigmouth. If you look up bigmouth the bird, you'll be able to find it. And this bird has like insane memory recall in terms of like learning sounds. And yeah, he figured out that like, oh, you can store like 2 megabytes worth of data inside a bird. Specific type of bird, but
Okay, I'm looking up bigmouth the bird. There's a lot of AI birds, a lot of pelicans. Let's go take some more.
Yeah.
There's the frogmouth. That's a fun. The tawny frogmouth. That's a fun bird. Okay. Anyway, so this is a lovely little nature minute there. Tom, you need to get to a place that has more nature than London.
Don't worry, I'm going home to Ireland next week, so
Hell yeah.
Excellent. Get your fill.
I'm gonna eat the best seafood in all of Europe. It's gonna be great.
Excellent. On this podcast, we like. Hey, John and I like Ireland a lot. I won't speak for Adrian.
I've never been,
Maybe
but I'm
Adrian
sure
is
it's nice.
Anti-Ireland action.
Yeah, as I always say, Ireland is just Wakanda for white people, so
Yeah.
Dude, it's even more of
That's
that.
super fair.
It's even more of that for the Midwest.
Like when I was touring around Sweden for a forestry tour last year, and I brought my dad with me, and we were like, yeah, this is just Minnesota. Huh, all the barns are red. This is Minnesota with more Canadian tuxedos. Why is everyone in jean jackets and jeans? What is happening here? Sweden, the place where the Canadian tuxedo never went out of style. Same with the Baltics. A lot of denim.
Well, like the Baltics makes sense, I guess. I don't know my stereotype mind, but I never expected Sweden. You know?
no, it's called the Serbian tuxedo. Just hiding ethnic tensions in the Balkans over claiming who owns a 3.
No, the Baltics.
Oh, the Baltics. I mean, the Balkans as well, probably.
So Latvia, yeah. Okay, all right. So that's been our nature minute. So now into our next segment, invasive species of the week. Now, Tom, in honor of you, we picked one that you probably have seen today. We picked the eastern gray squirrel, Scurrilus caroliniensis. Have we all seen the eastern gray squirrel?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Sitka spruce. Come on, I thought you were tree people.
No, we have that. Actually, it's in the notes. But
okay.
It's not an invasive species, yeah, but I didn't really want to dig into the whole like colonization of Ireland and that whole thing. That's a whole episode in itself, and like the death of the Atlantic rainforest.
I've got multiple books I'm reading on it too, so
Yeah,
I quite literally brought up today while we were recording a jumbo extra long episode of Lines Out by Donkeys about how the British Navy rose to global dominance because they completely deforested Ireland. So, yep.
yeah.
That was one of the reasons they colonized North America. Was they were looking for wood.
Yep.
All of the eastern white pine in North America were claimed by a king at one point. But then sucks to sucks, 1776, baby. Now them's our trees, boy. I got the American flag tank top on, listener. So we're real patriotic hours today.
Yeah, it used to be owned by you, was probably now owned by BlackRock Equity. So
they don't really invest too much in timberland. It doesn't have the return. There's a lot more reinsurers and insurance companies that own.
I was gonna say it's all
timberland.
Yeah, it's all insurance companies all the way down.
So it's BlackRock Insurance then.
Yeah. The margin just isn't there for BlackRock. It's not like owning a house and then charging rent on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not.
It's a much smaller 2%.
But see, if BlackRock were actually like interested in vertical integration, they would buy the forest so then they can own the timber to build the houses.
That's called Weyerhaeuser, Tom. That's just Weyerhaeuser.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not familiar with the big Timo's roots. Weyerhaeuser owns forest land. They also own mills. The only thing they don't do is construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And they largely have stopped being vertically integrated in that way too. They don't own nearly as many mills as they used to.
Oh yeah, the mills are dead.
It sucks.
Rest in peace, forest products. Okay, anyway, we're talking about gray
Squirrels.
squirrels. So gray squirrels are a medium-sized tree squirrel. They really do well with humans. They're really cute. If you're North American, like they're the squirrel you think of when you think of a squirrel. For everyone else, there are really cool other versions of squirrels. Like I'm a big fan of the Albert's squirrel. They have like little tufts of hair and they have like curled back ears. But the gray squirrel weighs about 1 to 2 pounds, or 3/4 of a kilogram to almost a kilogram. Or again, Tom, I know you're not English, but you're in the UK, so I converted this to something you can understand. About 0.15 of a stone.
Yep. No, I understand how much a stone weighs. Human weight is still measured in stone in Ireland.
Is it really?
Yeah, like doctors will use kilograms, but like everyone kind of commonly will refer to like, oh, I lost a stone or I lost 2 stones.
Amazing.
Yeah, so about a tenth of a stone is how much a squirrel weighs. So this is going to be a shocker for you, listener. They're mostly gray. That we can have melanistic squirrels or black squirrels. There are also leucistic squirrels, which are mostly white, and then we have albino squirrels, which are all white with the red eyes. Fun little fact about the melanistic squirrels is you tend to get less heat loss, and they tend to be better adapted for the cold than gray squirrels. Also, in gray squirrels, melanistic squirrels and like that black fur characteristic is a heritable trait. So once you get a few run around, you can have more. So it's not like a random mutation. It's not heritable. In a lot of animals, that's the case where having a black phase is not heritable. But in gray squirrels, it's very possible. So that's the fun little thing about gray squirrels. They're native to eastern North America, so they occur everywhere from Florida to Maine, all the way across Canada over to the Great Plains. Being a tree squirrel, they don't cross the Great Plains naturally. However, we can now find them in the western U.S. They were released in San Francisco, Oregon, and Washington. They're a generalist, so they'll eat anything they can get their little faces on. Classically, we think of them eating acorns, but they'll eat baby birds. They eat anything they can find. I've seen them eating out of garbage cans, like eating. The funniest one I ever saw was it was eating a styrofoam cup that had like been soaked with like a slushy, and so it was just eating
chewing on the
styrofoam.
Yeah. You love it.
Yeah. The other classic thing with gray squirrels, and I'm sure you guys will have experiences with this, is like they're the classic like college animal.
We had a guy at Colorado State that would go out and just feed the gray squirrels. Like he'd had a sack of like corn and just put it out. We had the fattest fucking squirrels, and it was around the forestry building too. So it's just this guy just feeding them, and they were thick squirrels. God.
AJ, do you have any college gray squirrel stories?
I mean, the ones on campus were also quite fat. I don't know that anyone was feeding them intentionally. I think they were just scavenging, and there's a lot to scavenge on a college campus. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the gray squirrels on a college campus. I mean, the gray squirrels in a city, period, are always going to be much larger than any you actually find out in the forest. Like if you go squirrel hunting and you shoot a gray squirrel and you've never done it before, and you're from the city, you will be surprised at how small they are. You're like, what the fuck? The one outside my front door is like twice this size. What did I come out here for?
That's the one outside your front door is getting on a stone.
Yeah.
So for me, my fun college story was I went to school in the UP, and they would could snow so much, they would make like burrows in the snow, like prairie dogs. It was so funny. It was so funny to see just squirrels just burrowing around. Okay, so gray squirrels are invasive, like I said, in the Western United States, but also South Africa, Italy, Ireland, and the UK. Okay, guys, what is the through line between all of those three countries?
Colonized, right?
Fucking hell, bro! They got the grey squirrels. They do not make good biltong. I am fucking sick of them.
You're right. It's the English. It's the colonizing Englishmen, folks. This is a haters podcast, and we hate the English.
They're the OG invasive species, the British Empire.
That's it.
Yeah. Never trust. This is just a general piece of advice. If you are on natural resources, never trust a rich Brit. Don't do it. So they were introduced in South Africa by British landowners, in Ireland by Brits, and in the UK by Brits. Italy, different story. We'll get to Italy in a second. But okay, let's talk about squirrels in the UK. So they were first introduced in 1876 and introduced on estates because they're cool and they're fun to watch, which is fair. They are cool and fun to watch. Through the 1930s, actually, the Royal Zoological Society of London cut loose a dozen squirrels in Regent's Park in 1912.
Cool.
And this is going to surprise you. Squirrels did very well in London.
Shocker.
Yep.
They're basically rats.
They're tree rats.
Yeah, I love them, but they're basically rats.
But a bit of a historical context for that. I assume part of the reasoning is that like during the Victorian era, that is the period between 1837 to 1901, when the death of Queen Victoria. There was like a huge obsession because there was an emergent. You could call it a middle class, but it was essentially like people who had come into newer levels of wealth through being managers, etc., in the Industrial Revolution. Not necessarily workers, but there's a huge fascination with nature, with exotic animals, and also as well like animals from other places. So you had essentially the introduction into a lot of private residencies and like shared parks of like, oh, we're just gonna put a monkey in here, like it's not gonna survive, but your kids can look at a monkey.
Huh. Okay.
Never trust the British in land management. That's what we're coming back to.
Yeah, it's just some Victorian child who's like huffing laudanum, who's like staring, like doing the fence bend, like looking at a grey squirrel.
Yeah. I did, like this is we missed the historical context, Calvin. Like we got all the ecological stuff and a little taste of the history, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck?
This was specifically done by estate owners. So Tom, I'm not sure if this was the middle class or who owned the land, but specifically the estate owners. The middle class are definitely who introduced it to Ireland. So they got to Ireland in 1913 in County Longford. County Longford. And they were sent by some rich Brits to some friends there as a wedding present. They sent them 5 squirrels. And it's been heaven ever since.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like, Ireland has, like, in terms of real kind of, like, modern invasive species, there's, like, or just kind of, like, wild species within urban areas, it is foxes and grey squirrels. And that's kind of it. In Dublin, in the Phoenix Park, obviously you have deer that are allowed roam wild, but like it's
they're invasive.
Yeah, foxes, grey squirrels. They're eating out of your bins. They're in your trees. They're probably trying to climb up your drain pipes.
Guaranteed. Yep. Oh, yeah, I forgot, sure. Calvin. I forgot my gray squirrel story. My sister had them in her freaking house last week. Like they are punching through the soffit on her house and climbing in there.
Are they chewing on the rafters?
Chewing on the rafters, running up and down in her attic. Like she's just sitting there, typing on her computer, and all of a sudden she's like, they're racing, like they're in freaking Olympics or something like that. She had finally
squirrels, man.
Yeah, oh my god, thank God. I think she got them out there with Trapper, Exterminator finally. I just told her, you got to get an air rifle and just sit up there one afternoon, just go to town.
But this is the thing that I find fascinating because like, white people in America have no fear of adopting wild animals as pets, like raccoons and possums.
Oh, you should be afraid of raccoons.
Yeah, don't worry. The badgers are the exact same in Ireland, but it's like raccoons, possums. You never see a weird white person in America with loads of pet gray squirrels. The bridge too far.
No, Tom, you very much should be afraid of raccoons. We'll talk about them later, but they do carry a brain worm that is lethal to humans. So it's not lethal to raccoons. So, listener, do not touch raccoon poop. Don't do it. You will get a brain worm, and about 5 people a year die.
Yeah, but you could end up Secretary of Health if you do it. Like, I think you should do it.
That's true. That's a career stepping stone right there.
Your father just has to be assassinated, and you have to just like eat loads of raccoon shit, and you too can be Secretary of Health.
Oh, and you get to be a heroin addict.
Yeah.
So this is it's all right. Take it all back.
Teenage heroin addict, assassinated dad, eat loads of raccoon shit.
Question mark, profit.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the gray squirrels. All right, so they got to South Africa by, again, we guessed it, the rich Brits. How did they, so they're in South Africa. They're not super expansive in South Africa, because this is going to surprise everyone. South Africa is a lot different than Eastern North America, so they're kind of hanging out in a couple of places there, but they're not really that bad. It's just too shrublandy for them to do well, it seems like. But they are in Italy. They were introduced in Turin in 1948, and there were at least 3 intentional introductions of gray squirrels in the 40s and the 60s. So were the squirrels involved in the years of lead? I have no idea.
Operation Gladio included squirrels.
They are doing a reverse Hannibal Barca in that they were crossing the Alps and invading France. Big problem for the French, actually, and also the Swiss. So is this Cadorno's revenge? Potentially,
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but like, the CIA via the squirrels are returning to.
It's the right wing fascist squirrel stay behind network. No one has determined how much data can be stored in a single squirrel. Like, keep your eyes open, guys.
Well, it is going to get better in a second, because the big problem with eastern gray squirrels is they're displacing the European red squirrels. So there's the CIA connection right there. Got to get the reds out. In this case, the red squirrel. And so one of the big things that they do is the gray squirrel carries squirrel pox, biological warfare, baby.
Can't believe the great replacement theory is correct, but about squirrels.
Yeah,
Only about
but
red
it's just
squirrels.
squirrel. Also, I'm looking at a photo of a red squirrel. It's more adorable. The ears, man. It's the ears.
Oh yeah, they're super cute.
They're super cute.
But they're being driven to extinction. So the gray squirrels show up in about 15 years. Once they're in a forest, the red squirrels are all extinct. Not really due to competition. The gray squirrels are more competitive. They'll eat more things. They're better competitors. They're bigger. They'll eat baby red squirrels, and they're also more active during the winter, but because of the squirrel pox. So they kill off the baby red squirrels. The other damage that they do is they're, like we said, aggressive predators, so they'll eat baby birds. They're also more kind of better seed predators. Red squirrels tend to be more fungal predators. So if you're trying to grow oaks, don't really want to have that many squirrels, because then the squirrels will eat them. Also, you got apples, orchards. Squirrels love getting into those things, eating everything. So a fun little thing that I found, you guys are going to love this. So one of the big drivers of the thing that kicked up people in the UK being interested in the squirrel invasion was a slight change in the squirrels. Anyone want to guess, in 2009, what changed in the squirrel population that would make the English paying more attention to this invasive species?
Did they start knocking over the bins?
Oh, it's even better than that. It's the opposite of woke. So when I click on that BBC News article and tell me what the title is.
Oh God.
Okay, let's see.
Wait.
Is it English classic?
Black squirrels set to dominate. Oh no.
Yep,
Oh God. The caption on the photo.
Oh no.
The caption on this photo is, "The blacks are on their way to becoming the dominant species." This is a BBC article from 2009.
Oh, they've removed the accreditation of who wrote it as well.
Coward. Jesus Christ.
So in Cambridgeshire, I don't respect England.
Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, sure. The melanistic squirrels became a little bit more common. And so, now we have race panic over invasive squirrels.
They're teaching critical race theory to the squirrels. Great Replacement is real. They don't want the red squirrels because they represent the George's Cross.
Like, I know 2009 was a long time ago, but we knew back then that you couldn't write a photo caption like that.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
Barack Obama was president. You can't be racism
we
is
solved
over.
racism.
That was in America. We solved racism. I don't know how you guys did over there. We worked that out here.
There's a Barack Obama Plaza in Ireland, so thank you very much.
Greatest petrol station in the world, the Barack Obama Plaza in Moneygall.
Hell yeah.
I'm sorry. This is so funny. I have to now read you guys a quote from the article.
Oh,
I
no.
didn't read this before. Miss Thomas, Miss Thomas. This is a local Brit. I can't. I don't think the black squirrels we have here in the UK are a result of a genetic mutation. That would require too big a jump that I don't think is possible. I think this is some big change in nature.
But this just proves that, like, I know everyone talks about, like, QAnon and self-radicalization, but, like, I firmly believe everyone has always just been like this.
Yeah. We have conspiracy theories like this in the U.S. about wildlife getting places. It's usually, the government brought these, like, wolves in, and it's the government's fault. This is black helicopters, but for squirrels.
It proves like the TF theory of just like everything is just so much smaller and just more, just more small on the island. Like we're freaking out over squirrels, not wolves or mountain lions or bears. It's squirrels.
Amazing.
Okay, so that was our segment on invasive species. Gray squirrels, invasive in Europe. Also, racism in England? Since when?
Not invasive, indigenous.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the meat of the episode. So this is a spiritual successor to our last episode. So Tom, you haven't had a chance to listen to our last episode because we haven't published it yet. So our last episode was on Walter Bitterlich. He was a Nazi. He joined the Nazi Party in 1932, participated in the liquidation of Krakow, fought on the Eastern Front, fought at D-Day. Probably a war criminal.
And he said, I would like to also point out, he did all of those things, specifically like at D-Day, and also thought it was fine. It was a grand old time. It was, I had a decent time on the Eastern Front in 1943, right?
The best years of his life, basically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Those are quotes. Those are actual quotes that Calvin found.
Oh, we did find a quote of him respecting the SS.
Oh, yeah. They were really fine people on both sides.
So this is a spiritual successor into that, in that we'll be talking about a world war. And most importantly for Walter, we're going to be talking about a critter that's merciless, kills anything in its sight. And that's right, it's from Argentina.
Yeah, we're talking about piranist animals, A lot of people don't realize that Evita was written about this animal.
So we're going to talk about the Argentine ant, Lanthipia humilii, which means the humble ant. And their super colonies and their battle for world domination within those colonies. Okay, before we jump into everything, we have to first ask ourselves, what is an ant? All right, what do we know about ants, guys?
Ants is bugs.
The subject of a great movie from the 90s. Also is very terrible for the capybara population in Brazil. Yeah, fire ants are a great danger to the capybara in Brazil.
Frequently stuck in washing machines, I think.
What?
So ants are insects, as AJ has pointed out. Ants is bugs. They're in the order Hymenoptera. Does everyone remember our entomology classes? What else is in Hymenoptera?
Bees, wasps, and ants, basically.
Oh, and sawflies. Don't forget the sawfly.
Okay, and sawflies. Yeah.
So ants are specifically. Oh, John, you had something there?
Oh no, I'm glad AJ remembered all that because I was like, Hymenoptera. Oh Jesus Christ, I don't know.
You people are professionals.
Yeah. Well, John's specifically just a tree guy.
Just a
Not
tree guy. I'm
Not
so
really.
like
Trees ain't bugs.
trees are not bugs. Next question.
Yeah. We did have a whole debate whether insects are wildlife, and I came down. No, insects are not wildlife. Insects is bugs.
I'm coming around to that.
Yeah.
It's just too much to know.
Oh my God! A guy can only know so much. So ants specifically are Formidaceae. These are our ants. Fun fact, they come from the same genetic evolutionary line as stinging wasps. So if you have a wasp's nest and you have an ant's nest, them two things is really closely related. Really closely related. The first known fossil of an ant that we would recognize today was from roughly 113 million years ago. So this is a really, when we're thinking evolutionary, this is a really old critter. The largest ant I was able to find that was ever evolved, each one was about 1.5 inches long. That would be big.
That would be disturbing
big
to see.
Yeah. I was hoping for something like big in the Carboniferous era, like
Yeah.
Like a foot long ant.
I was thinking like a chihuahua, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Like we had really big bugs back in the day, back when the CO2 content was way up.
Hey!
Sorry, oxygen content.
Oh,
was
damn
way
it.
up.
I was going to say, we're about ready to do it again, guys.
We need to make bugs big again. Make big. But like, so on ants, there is a specific 2 to 3 day period in London called Flying Ant Day, where they all mate and then die. So literally for like 2 to 3 days straight, and obviously like their feet are like sticky, so they stick to you. Like you will just be walking down the street, and it'll be like seeing a murmuration of starlings, and it's like, this is so it is disgusting because you're trying to walk through them and they're like sticking to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have a good impression of a can't believe I'm gonna do this. I have an impression that I do for my friends of a fly, and I did it on the most recent Flying Ant Day. I'm gonna show you guys, can see it, no one else listening at home, but it's that's what the flying ants are doing when they're looking at your skin and be like, I'd love to stick to that.
Listener, imagine a good representation of a fly. Yep, that's it. This is podcast.
Rubbing its hands, rubbing its head.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So fun things about ants. Ants continued. They've evolved to fill basically every ecological niche. You got hundreds of different species of ants. So you have ants that do everything from leaf cutting, where they are cutting the leaves to feed them to fungi, to ants that are farming aphids, to slaving ants that go out, raid other ant hills, and enslave those ants to feed them. All kinds of weird ant stuff out there. You could do ants forever.
I just gotta ask, since you guys are the experts, is it pronounced correctly fungi and not fungi? Or are you also like Joe, just from Michigan?
Yeah, I would say fungi, but
yeah, fungi.
It doesn't matter, and I don't care.
Okay, good. I have it from the experts.
Anyone who cares is a nerd, and you should ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got too many other things going on to be focused on just that. Also, I pronounce niche and niche. I don't care.
I think I switch.
Words are fake.
I think I switch hit on niche. Like, depends on the day. I don't know.
I'm a switch, but for niche.
It is. That implies there are people who exist who are grammatical bottoms.
Okay, no. Okay.
I mean,
well, we know there are grammatical tops.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some out there. Okay.
Anyways, moving
all right.
on.
So
Focus.
Yeah. So ants are on every colony and almost every. Ants are on basically every continent except, ironically, Antarctica, and basically every island out there except for a few rocks in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which probably used to have ants at one point, or if they're volcanic, have had no life besides seabirds. So they're basically everywhere, and they're one of the most successful organisms out there after parasitic wasps. We stand parasitic wasps on this podcast. If you have something that's alive or was alive, there's probably a parasitic wasp that feeds on it.
Honestly, it would surprise me if there wasn't at one point a little ant colony at McMurdo that just wound up. I mean, but they treat biosecurity pretty seriously down there. But I mean, shit gets through.
If you're wondering, if you're not cool, if you're not up on your Antarctic research stuff, McMurdo Station is the big research station in Antarctica.
Yeah, like population over 1,000 people when it's at its max. So it's a big station with a lot of moving parts. I would be surprised if there wasn't an ant colony kicking around there at some point. Maybe it's been eradicated, but like
yeah, definitely a seasonal ant colony. definitely seasonally there are ant colonies there. I'll do that for sure. I don't think they probably can't overwinter unless you get them like in a really specific place. Anyway, so they're really, really interesting critters. They tend to, in most ecosystems, if you were to weigh everything, there tends to be more biomass of ants than there are vertebrates. They're just super successful critters. One of the keys to their success is they're a social insect. Most of them live in pretty good-sized colonies, though you'll have some that live in colonies of just a few dozen organisms. And they tend to have just like 1 or 2 reproductive individuals per colony, though there are other strategies out there. We're going to talk about one of those. So in our colony structure, as Tom was mentioning, we tend to have a queen or multiple queens. Then you have the worker ants, which some people refer to as females. There's actually a fun little drama in entomology. Like, is this a third sex? Because they're never going to be genetically reproductive. So is this just like the drone, the worker class? Workers of the world rise up.
Once again, the ants are being woke. Ants are woke now.
Yeah, they, them, ants.
Yeah, if they're never going to reproduce, are they? I get they. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
Seize the means of reproduction, ants.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
In most ants, the workers can never reproduce. They just don't have it in them, like genetically. Then you have the males, and the males in most ants, again, the male's sole job is to go off and mate with the queen. In most ant species, the males just die after mating. Some they stay around and continually reproduce with the queen. I would rate this not a bad gig if you can get it.
What a hell of a post-nut clarity.
Yeah.
The post-nut clarity that kills you.
Yeah.
I don't need to be around for the rest of this. The rest of this seems like a lot of work. I got to fly. I got to mate. What more does a guy need? All right, that's it for me.
Ants are the ultimate version of a deadbeat dad.
I flew and hung out with your mom for about 30 seconds, and then I went off to die. So that's how a lot of ants work. And I'm going to say a lot because there's all kinds of different species of ants out there. You have the slaver ants, and they're like, the queens don't really lay a lot of eggs. They lay warrior ant eggs, and the warriors go out and they kill other ants and steal their babies. So that's a fun thing for you. Most ants, again, are very territorial. So they're going to kill basically anything that they come in contact with, ant-wise, if it's an ant from their species or another species. Pretty territorial for a lot of ants because they're like, it's a hard world out here, man. We got animals that feed specifically on us. Another little fun thing for us. The diet of animals that feed specifically on ants is myrmecophagia. Myrmex being the Greek word for ant. So there are plenty of critters that just feed on just ants. So not just anteaters, but like your woodpeckers, like the pileated woodpecker, 80% of its diet are, wood-boring ants. That
No
kind of
shit.
stuff.
That's a lot. Like, I knew insects broadly for birds is like 80 to 90% of their diets, but like did not know specifically ants for pileated woodpeckers. That's really cool. Is there do ants ever fight with like other bees or something like that, or a wasp or something like that, or is it just two niches that are just not connected?
No, dude. Ants will kill anything that comes near them.
Okay.
Or most ant species will kill most anything that comes near them,
Okay.
especially if they come near the colony.
Okay.
They'll be like, hey, Duke's up, man. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's see what you got, baby.
Cool. Yeah.
You'll find them attacking, when anteaters go to attack the colonies, the ants will fight back. I mean, they lose.
Yeah.
That's what anteaters are evolved for, but they'll still fight back.
That's pretty cool.
Another fun thing is you have ants that are evolved specifically to eat ants. You've got ants with myrmecophagia. So it's a tough world being an ant. The colonies are really intricate, where large colonies tend to be really intricate, and so they have a really cool system of communication. They tend to, do most of their communication via pheromone, so they'll release chemicals to tell other ants what's going on. They can leave little trails behind them, like, hey, I went this way and I found a tasty treat. Like, the cat food's over here. Everybody, let's come take the cat food. And then they'll go back to the colony, and the other ants can follow that. They also, a lot of them tend to have these coatings on them that have pheromones. Those coatings are actually made of hydrocarbons. So most ants are hydrophobic. so the water kind of just runs right off.
Oh,
So if you
it's that video of like the clump of ants that are just spinning in the in water. Oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it.
Oh, we're gonna get to that actually.
Oh no, okay.
That's such a great thing to get to.
Oh, okay.
And as we all know, ants are really strong. Like they're most of them are capable of picking up things that like weigh 10 times as much as them. So like ants, pretty cool little critters. Like they're evolved to just throw down with anything.
Just to completely
How we feel about it?
derail the podcast for a second, I just looked up the cast for the 1998 movie Ants, and it is stacked. Sharon Stone, Sylvester Stallone, Gene Hackman, Jennifer Lopez, Donald Glover, Christopher Walken, and unfortunately Woody Allen.
Jesus.
Damn.
Oh, Danny Glover. Danny Glover. Donald
Sorry,
Glover.
Danny Glover. Sorry,
Donald Glover
not
was-
Don
Yeah.
Glover.
Okay,
Danny
okay.
Glover.
I was like,
Damn.
he would have been very young.
I was gonna say like 10,
Yeah.
15.
He's in the movie making racially
Yeah,
insensitive comments about Asian women.
Yeah.
Is
Damn, yeah.
is this the movie where the grasshoppers like oppress the worker ants? Is that this one?
Because there was two of them.
And there's
Or
like
was
a
that
sexy
is that a
lady
Bug's
ant.
Life?
Yeah, that's the no. A Bug's Life is who's
Because they both came out around the same time.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Bug's Life.
we're doing live checks.
A Bug's Life has the ant as the main character, but it has the caterpillar. I like the caterpillar. I was kind of.
I mean, both of those movies have a problematic person in that A Bug's Life has Kevin Spacey in it.
Oh no.
Although I think Kevin Spacey is the villain.
Okay, yep, that tracks. Yeah,
Julia
no,
Louis-
he is the villain in real life as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say Julia. I can't.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, for some reason Louise that trips me out. Anyways, yeah, she's in
That
it,
lady.
too. That lady's in
Also,
it.
a Bug's. You know what? Ants doing really well on the cultural front. God, shout out to ants. Like y'all are really great at some incredible cultural properties. Good job, ants.
They're calling them the most culturally significant insect species to movies.
Well, since the bee movie.
Also, Ants came out first. I just want to say that Ants came out first before A Bug's Life.
Oh man, that's terrible timing because I'm definitely thinking of when I'm thinking of ants. I'm definitely thinking of a Bug's Life.
Yep. No,
Yep.
I that Bugs Life.
See, I
is the one
saw
that's in my head.
ants
Oof.
before I saw A Bug's Life, so that's what comes to mind for me is ants.
Yeah, I hate to
Ants
say it, but
with a Z, mind you.
Yeah, see, you
Ants.
gotta do a pod watch along of Ants and critique it from the perspective of ecological experts.
Yep, we're adding that to
We're
the
actually going to do
spreadsheet.
that for either Cocaine Bear or Jurassic Park 3.
Hell yeah.
My big problem with Cocaine Bear is they said it in the foothill. It's supposed to be in the foothills of Appalachia, but it's in Ireland.
Yeah, it was filmed in
They filmed the whole
Bray,
thing in Ireland.
in Ireland.
Okay, learn
Yeah,
new
you
stuff
can
every day.
really tell. You can really tell it's not Appalachia.
Oh yeah, no, I figured like it's whenever they're setting something. Oh yeah, this is in Appalachia, and it's like clearly shot in Vancouver or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a Sitka spruce. That's not supposed to be there.
Well, we can't spoil the whole episode. We have
Anyway,
to hold
back to
some
the
of
ants we're actually talking about.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to talk about a really generalist ants. We're going to talk about the Argentine ant. So they're native to the Panera River. So they're native to Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, and Brazil. Southern Brazil. Brazil's a big country. So they're from a lush landscape that has lots of predators and other species of ants. So these are a really fighty ant. Fun little thing for us. AJ, you'll appreciate this. They are native in their native habitat. They live alongside red fire ants and electric ants.
Lovely.
I'm sure you've had some fun time with both of those ants.
Oh, yeah.
Can I raise my hand? What the hell is
Yeah.
an electric ant?
It's like a fire ant but smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I was gonna
it's
I thought it
named
was
that
gonna be like
because
a
when they
real-
sting you, it feels like you've been electrocuted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes
Not fun.
more sense. I thought it was gonna be an ant that had a small electric current in it or something like that, and
Yeah.
then I was gonna have a time.
So this is like this is like the gladiatorial games for ants. So really high ant diversity, lots of ant species here. Also because they're from a river system, these are are really mesic ants, so we're going to find them close to the river. They are evolved for frequent disturbance, and they're strongly hydrophobic. So when it floods, they form a big cluster around the queen and the eggs, and they just kind of float places. Yeah. Again, because they're a floodplain ant, they don't nest in like underground. They just kind of nest on the ground. They're just like, all right, here's some leaves and a log. Here we go. But if they find some ants that have built a nice nest underground, they will kill those ants and take the nest. But they'll quickly abandon an underground nest if it starts to rain at all. They go, nope, boys, surface, let's go. Also, again, because they're from this water-prone, flooding-prone place, they've evolved this fun behavior where their first instinct when they meet another Argentine ant is they smell it, and they're smelling the hydrocarbons on the outside, and they're looking for pheromones. If they recognize the ant as being genetically similar or having a similar diet, that's one of the things that make up the hydrocarbons, they don't kill it. If they don't recognize the other ant, everybody fights to death. Colonies will regularly fight to the death, and those fights are only broken up by storms and flooding. So like you don't have like mass, so they're able to form like sister colonies, and these colonies will you'll have like one or two so this is I forgot to mention this ant is poly, so they keep a spreadsheet of their schedule and stuff like that. I don't know.
Literally nobody is doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Well, we've got they, them ants, poly ants. They are woke.
Ants are woke now.
Yeah, I think we're gonna add this to our. We're gonna write a book, and one of the things in there is gonna be like, ants are woke.
It's gonna be called Wokeimals or something. It's gonna sell millions of copies.
Well, if we just make them ant-sized, we can just we gotta bring
the books are for the ants.
The books are for the ants.
We already have reading centers for them. So they're poly, so you can have up to 8 ants per 1,000 workers. That's when they're doing really well. And they'll also split colonies, especially when it rains. So you'll have like a couple of ant colonies that all have the same genetic background, and so they'll like feed each other and hang out and be friends. This is called a super colony.
Okay.
All right, you feeling good about that?
So far,
I got it.
Okay. The other fun thing about this ant is not only is it like just a fantastic predator that will eat anything it can find. The ants will group together and take down larger prey items. They also farm aphids.
Yep, that's pretty cool. Like cows, like aphid cows, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's a thing that some ants do, some ants don't. Okay, so how do we start an ant world war? Well, it's pretty simple. We take our ants that are in Argentina, and then we spread them around the world.
Oh, great.
Classic invasive species story. So the first known introduction was roughly 100 years ago on the Madeira Islands. They got there in some soil for plants. This is coming back to our invasive species episode. This is the importance of biosecurity. Not only when you buy native plants from your local area are you saving your ecosystem, you're also reducing the spread of invasive species. In this case, ants. So the ants are in the soil. Probably not one ant, because like a single worker ant in that soil would have just died on the ship journey from Argentina to Madeira. These are not a long-lived insect, and that journey took place in the early 1900s, so probably under sail. So probably a whole colony or queen got moved over there. From Madeira, they took off and they started colonizing Spain and Italy and the Mediterranean. This ant species does not do frost. So we just gotta keep. That's the only thing keeping them in control.
That's good. That's what we don't have a problem.
Good thing. There's nothing wrong with the climate, and it's gonna stay the same.
I'm excited to live on Ant Planet soon.
Yeah. So dumb question, Calvin. Yeah. Do they know how it spread? Is it more soil movement, or is this like they got picked up in a storm and they just floated across the ocean or something like that?
Oh, from Madeira to Europe, it looks like they got moved in some horse stuff.
Oh, okay.
Once again, horses are the
horses
problem.
again. Yeah. Horses, not even once.
Yeah.
Yep. So they got spread across to Europe, and then once they established in Europe, spread all over the place. Them being ants, people really mostly ignored them for like basically 100 years. It wasn't really until like the 1990s that people realized, like, hey, we have this Argentine ant colony like all over the place. I'm going to send you guys a map now. I'm going to put it in the Zoom chat here. So here's a map of where all of the known Argentine ant colonies are. And I'm going to say, again, I'm going to emphasize known. This is underreported because you have to be an ant expert. You have to stop and take time to look for these bad boys. and then you have to identify them into species. So this is their world domination. We know they're basically in most of the major ports around the world. They're all over the UK, the US, particularly the southeastern US and California. I'm sorry this map sucks. It just is what it is. South Africa, I don't know what this port in Yemen is, but Dubai, the Philippines, Japan, Australia. These things, they move around the world in both vegetation, like when people are shipping plants places, but also like whole like colonies and stuff like that, because they are evolved for a disturbed environment. They'll just move themselves into shipping containers and then move themselves off of shipping containers and then take over a port area. And then once they land in that area, they establish a colony. They will set up that colony so the queen plops down anywhere from like a crack on the sidewalk to like a crack on the ceiling or just some dry leaves around a building, and then just start spreading out, eating everything from there. Just fantastic predators. Okay, so that's how they have spread around the world. It's just moving around in human shipping and with trade. Capitalism, not even once. Capitalism leads to worldwide ant domination.
Just a heads up, guys. I'm gonna have to jump off in about 15-ish minutes.
Okay, perfect. We are getting into the war
right
cool. now. Okay, so in the 90s, we figure out that we have ants everywhere, and they are the same species of ant. Then people start putting them together, and they don't respond, which is kind of weird for, especially like a territorial ant like this. Like they're like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? We're just ants being ants. Let's go do the plot of ants together. So they start to put out this idea of these, because the super colony was known in like 1914. Like it was noticed that ants don't really fight each other if they're from the same colony, and so people start putting together, like hypothesizing that there's this world-spanning colony, and that is kind of
don't like that.
No.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the leading theory about these Argentine ants up until 2004, and then they discover that there's been a split. So scientists walking around the neighborhood in San Diego find this crack in the sidewalk that's full of dead Argentine ants.
Okay.
And what is killing those Argentine ants?
Other ants.
Other Argentine. Yeah, other Argentine ants.
Yes. Ideal. They did not have the requisite ideological purity.
Yeah, people are constantly going on about, the statistics for ant-on-ant crime in San Francisco is way too high. Gavin Newsom is not doing anything about it.
That's exactly right. Gotta go. Yeah, so we're having ant-on-ant crime here. So with some careful and interesting science, they discover that there are at least 2 colonies in California. We have this is a fantastic colony name, the Very Large Colony, which stretches from LA up into San Diego, up into this line. You can actually kind of see it on a map.
Nice. 10 out of 10 name.
You have, the Very Large Colony. Then you have the Lake Hodges Colony. And where these 2 territories meet, these colonies fight.
Is the Lake Hodges colony around Lake Hodges?
Yep.
Outstanding.
San Diego,
Outstanding.
San Francisco down to Lake Hodges. At least. Again, like this is like, we're really theorizing here because like it's not really the main work of anybody studying ants is to just follow where the super colonies are, because you've got too much other stuff going on.
Yeah, because there's so many ants. So you've got so much shit to do. There's so much ants.
You ever tried running an ant colony? You have to keep counting. You never sit the undergrads go crazy in there. So on this one border, it's estimated that at least 30 million ants die every year in maintaining this border struggle.
Oh man, you should take a moment of silence.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Rest in peace.
I'm looking at maps of like the distance. I'm like, okay, this is something that's roughly the size of, my pinky nail or something like that. Like, that's a lot of space to cover, man. Like, God.
Yeah. No, these things are crazy. Okay, so since then, it has been discovered that there are at least 9 separate colonies, super colonies. So whenever these 9, whenever ants from these other areas meet, they fight. And so they're fighting in shipping containers, they're fighting in ports, they're fighting in the sidewalks, they're fighting everywhere all the time, all at once. It's really cool. It's really crazy. It's estimated that the Very Large Colony is 1 trillion ants. Sorry.
I was gonna ask, do they, I guess, know or have a theory? Is this because of genetic drift or just different diets in across the different super colonies?
That's a fantastic question, Jim. I'm so glad you asked. So the first introduction was one colony. And so for a long time, it was just that one colony that had escaped Argentina and managed to colonize most of Europe and then most of Europe and then part of Asia. Just that one colony and that one group of ants. But then another one pops up. So it is a little bit of genetic drift. So there's a population of ants in Catalonia. So we have our rightful Catalonian ants who are rebelling from the oppressive rest of the European ants.
Okay.
And that's probably genetic drift. Is something happened with the Catalonian ants? I don't know. They're in the mountains. Some kind of Spanish. Tom, give us a Spanish stereotype. Tell us about
they all have like small water pistols and they're spraying tourists because they're being displaced from their colonies. But my main thing is like, are these different colonies like able to throw up like little ant gang signs when they see each other?
No, they're too busy killing each other. They just go right to it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no posing here. There's just death. There's just death anytime they see each other on sight. This is old school gang stuff. There's no posing. We're just going right for the throat every time. So like the Catalonian ants are likely they're splitters. They split off of your main European ant, and something happened genetically there. And that's how those guys showed up. There's also an invasion in Hawaii. What probably happened with the Hawaiian invasion is you have a completely separate introduction. So another colony got moved from Brazil to Hawaii. I'm going to guess, again, plants moved that one. Plants caused that. And so now anytime you have an Argentine ant from like the mainland U.S. land in Hawaii, killed in the port.
Huh.
Them boys is just waiting at the port like, hey, what are you doing over there?
This is our turf, bitch.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The Hawaiian ants have also colonized a good chunk of the Pacific Ocean. So we have Maori ants. We have Maori Argentinian ants who are just sailing the oceans, taking over Oceania.
Oh my God. Are they have they established colonies on the trash islands?
Oh, actually, so Tom, they do throw gang signs. They flare mandibles, they have a recoiling behavior, and then they get right to fighting. Yep, sorry, I missed that. Yep, they do throw gang signs.
Hell yeah.
Another thing that's driving some of this shift and causing the fights are the different diets. So if you take an ant from the very large colony, that's one in California, and an ant from the Lake Hodges colony, also in California, and you feed them the same diet, and you put them together, they eventually fight, but it takes them a while to figure out that we're not friends. So part of the change that caused, part of the hydrocarbon mix comes from what they eat. They eat the same thing, they kind of smell alike, but then they realize that they're not exactly the same, and they get to fight.
I'm messed up on the idea of like they can colonize the trash island in the middle of the Pacific, and we can have plastic ants. And I'm just going down like this is a sci-fi book in here somewhere.
There's an Argentine ant battle group on its way here as we speak.
What we need to do, because the ants are hydrophobic, we need to train the ants to create assembling and disassembling boats. So you can summon your ant army and sail on them. Or a superhero that surfs on ants. I don't know. Is there something in that? Marvel's
there's something there.
Yeah.
So now, like, obviously there's going to be a lot of, like, ecological damage from, such a pervasive invasive species.
Oh, yeah. I could talk about the ecological.
What I was going to bring up is I think these are the ants, and correct me if I'm wrong, though, but these are the ones that occasionally pop up into the news because they'll be the ones that, like, you'll get, like, a big spat of them deciding, hey, we're going to live inside this, power transformer and, blow out the electricity and those kind of things. Or they get into electronics and all those kind of things and cause problems on a widespread basis.
I think so, yes. Yeah, they form just massive colonies. So the damage that they do, so they obviously eat anything. They'll eat anything, so they really decrease the invertebrate biodiversity and population around them in areas that they've invaded. They really hammer other ant populations. I know a real surprise that the ants are killing other ants. Mm-hmm. Again, ant-on-ant violence, don't do it. Ant solidarity forever.
Just say no to ants.
They also, so in the deserts of California, they'll eat an endangered lizard out there. They'll just kill them and eat them, boys. The horned lizard has been closely tied to the Argentine ants. Not only do the Argentine ants eat the horned lizard, but also if you get enough Argentine ants together, they can kill a horned lizard. And boys just fight. The other thing is, so a lot of plant species, so trilliums, for example, that John and I are familiar with, they rely on ants for distribution. So they have this nice fatty outer coating. The ants bring it to their home, they eat the outer coating, and then the trillium grows up in the ant colony. It's a nice loose soil with lots of other stuff in there. It's a great place to grow. Well, Argentine ants don't do that. They don't have that behavior. So if an Argentine ant runs into the seeds of a plant that is meant to be, distributed by ants, they just strip it of the fatty coating and just leave it where it is. And so they reduce plant diversity that way. It's a big problem in South Africa, in the velds. And then also because they farm aphids and scale insects, if they get into an orchard, they will increase honeydew damage. Because they got, so what they do is they have, the insects that they want. So honeydew is a sugary substance produced by aphids, scale insects, all this kind of stuff. It causes, so it's just this sweet, water that drips out of them. And so if you find a plant that's all black from insects, that's the honeydew. That's a fungus feeding on honeydew. So the Argentine ants will climb up the tree. If they find an aphid colony, they'll disperse them onto leaves, and they'll collect the honeydew off of them, but they'll also protect the aphids. So in an orchard setting, if they find an aphid on one tree, they're going to move them around to as many trees as possible and increase honeydew damage and pest populations in your orchard.
It's great. They're literally humans, but, small. Moving around herd animals, harvesting their weird secretions that, you think about for a second, and it's this is odd, but it still tastes good or whatever. They're humans by, ant size, I guess.
Well, I think it's important not to anthropomorphize them.
Counterpoint, they've discovered how to float on water, so basically, there's a Christopher Columbus Argentinian ant, and we know they do ant genocides, so...
Yeah.
So I think I'm right, actually.
Christopher Columbus brackets lady ant.
yeah.
But it's the reverse, because they went from South America to Europe.
Yeah, it's a reverse Columbian exchange. Suck on that, Europe.
There have been a couple successful eradication programs. It takes a lot of effort to eradicate them. You're looking at, on average, between $50,000 and $200,000 per square kilometer to eradicate them, and that only works on islands. So the Channel Islands in California, or your Pacific Islands. That's the only place you're going to fully eliminate Argentine ants from. They are at this point, endemic to the southeast United States, along with fire ants and electric ants. So they're just out there ripping through the ecosystems in the southeast.
Yep. Yeah.
And Tom, you too could find Argentine ants. So next time you find an ant colony, start speaking Spanish at it. Ask it how it feels about all beef meals.
Or German.
If it has,
you can speak German to it too.
Just hold out a leaf covered in honeydew and just say, "Get it?"
So that has been the Argentine ant and the Argentine ant wars. I don't really think we need to go too much into the wars, because they just fight. They just run into each other, just fight nonstop, and just millions and millions of critters die every year. They're dying in every port, basically. So listener, if you go look for these maps, and this distribution of Argentine ants, just remember this is a largely underreported phenomenon, because you have to find the ants, which are kind of cryptic. You don't find ants the first time. You don't find ants everywhere, even if they are there. Then you have to look at the ants. Then you have to identify the ants to species. So I would bet that there are a lot more colonies out there and a lot more invasions than we currently think there are.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah, with every invasive species.
Pretty much.
What does the future look like for this? Probably we'll never stop this. The nice thing is that these ants are all in these colonies pretty genetically similar. So if you find something that will kill one colony, it'll probably kill that. If you find one thing that'll kill an ant in that colony, it'll probably kill most of the colony. but you probably switch it up between colonies. So if we kill the Lake Hodges colony, maybe the very large colony will become the California colony.
Yeah, we need to do the ant years of lead to have some controlled suppression of the Lake Hodges ant colony.
Great. Yep. That's depressing. Sorry.
That has been the Argentine Ant World War. Yeah. And our friend Walt Bitterlip would like this because we have Argentinians taking over the world and killing everything that doesn't look and sound exactly like that.
There it is. Close the loop. I like
There
it.
it is. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
We have Peronist Nazi ants.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Argentina.
Boom. Nailed
ant.
it.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. Tom, do you want to plug your stuff?
Yeah, listen to Beneath Skin, show about the history of everything told through the history of tattooing, as I talked about at the start, and Lions Out by Donkeys military history show. I'm not sure when you guys are putting this episode out, but if you are listening and you are in Glasgow, you can come see us on the 4th of October in the Flying Duck. Other than that, follow me online. I got it at Guineys. That's GOTITATGUINEYS.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on, Tom.
Oh, thanks very much for having me. This is brilliant. I love being invited on podcasts like this, like where I get to learn and not have to constantly make jokes. I constantly make jokes anyway, but this is fascinating.
Well, we're so glad you came on. Okay, do we know what our next one's going to be on, guys?
Not really.
How about what are the redwoods and why do they suck?
Yeah, sure. I think I can.
Okay,
put that
so
together.
our next podcast will be on what are the redwoods and why do they suck?
It's mostly me bitching about climbing through Huckleberry. Anyways, have a good rest of everybody's month.
We'll see y'all later.
All right, take care, folks.
Bye.